didn't produce enough, not produce it. Those were like reducing the shadows in streets or something like that. And then we saw the how was in Japan or Asia or China, I don't remember the country, but there were another kind of type of problem because they had many I don't know how can I say when they had uh, how can I say like trains mm, behind or below the ground. Also they had many scratch. I don't remember how to say rascacielos.
A skyscraper. The first one you can say when something is under the ground, right? You can say underground structures, okay? Underground structures or underground infrastructures, and it can be the subway, right? Subways or many other types of structures under, below, right? And the other one is going to be skyscraper.
Skyscraper. Okay, thank you.
Very good. And what happens with that, Daniel? You were telling me because of those skyscraper and because of the underground infrastructure, what happens? That was in Hong Kong, right? What happens in Hong Kong? What's the bad thing about Hong Kong?
Well, the people uh, became some kind of uh, it shows a gray city on how the people had a few problems in with their mindset. And what else? Mm, Also, they had some kind of can I say virus or no? It was in United States some kind of virus, but yeah, also in Hong Kong they cannot breathe very well. I don't know if it was regarding a virus, but I remember that part of the video.
Great. There you go. Thank you very much, Daniel. And yes, yes, the second one, I don't know, they were talking about bronchitis, right? Bronchitis and diminished lung function. And I think that's because of, yes, the poor air quality, right? The air quality in Hong Kong is very, very poor. And because of that, they can get a disease. So we're going to call that only a disease, right? And the disease is going to be bronchitis and it's going to be diminished lung virus or sorry, diminished lung function. But let's take a look at some words that you were telling, which was very good, just to remember this very well before going to the next one. So yes, in New York, right, 1880, you don't have a lot of trees and buildings absorb, right, a lot of solar radiation, right? That in combination with what? The season, right? A specific period of time, in this case, summer. So no trees, a lot of buildings absorbing solar energy or solar radiation, summer, and then you have the sanitation standards, right? They are very poor. So all of that, right, in general is going to create what? A breeding ground, right? A breeding ground is a place that has all the conditions in which you can grow something. And in this case, bacteria, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bacteria is going to be over here. And you have one example, right? Cholera. And then over here, you were saying that very well. You have tall skyscrapers, you have underground infrastructure, and that is going to make difficult what? Is going to make it difficult for trees to grow. And because of that, right, the air quality is going to be very poor, and that's going to have as a consequence, first, bronchitis, and also diminished lung function, right? And that's related to what you were saying, Daniel. They cannot breathe well, right? They have problems with their lungs and they have to use masks. So up to that part. Then the next part, we also take a look at the first part. Oh, sorry, the next part, Daniel, but not that good. So I'm going to play it from this part and pay attention, please, to the mindset. You were talking about the mindset. Here you can talk about that. And they are going to give examples with one hospital, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
And diminished lung function. Trees affect our mental health as well. Research indicates that the presence of green foliage increases attention spans and decreases stress levels. It's even been shown that hospital patients with views of brick walls recover more slowly than those with views of trees. Fortunately, many cities are full of views like this, and that's no accident. As early as the 18th century, city planners began to embrace the importance of urban trees.
Okay, up to that part before going to that idea, right, of planifying with trees. But what can you tell me about that short part then?
Uh, well, yeah, in the last part of Hong Kong, it shows us how the mental health decreases or increases without having trees or having trees. And then it shows us an example with people that are some kind of ill or I don't know if it's a correct word, sick, or they are revalidating. Um, yeah, it shows us how the rehabilitation it's slowly is slower than people that has views with many trees or uh, seeing nature could be.
Thank you very much. Yes. First, let's go to the first part that you mentioned. Yes, at the end of this one, right? And this idea is in general, right? It can be related to Hong Kong, but also perhaps to New York, all cases in which you don't have trees. So let's take a look at some words. This is an interesting study. Okay, it says research indicates that presence of green foliage. Okay, this is green foliage. So it's also interesting vocabulary, right? It's trees, plants, flowers, nature in
General.
general.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so green foliage increases attention spans. It means the time that you can pay attention to something. Okay, here it's hard to pay attention to something because you are or distracted or you cannot think of anything. But here you can focus, you can get concentrated, you can pay attention, right? Because you are free to think, you are comfortable. Then you have also more things. It decreases stress levels, right? That's very simple, and you were mentioning that as well. And yes, they were talking about patients in hospitals, right? And the view, you said that, right? The view is going to affect. Brick walls is going to produce something negative, right? They are going to recover, right? You can use that word to recover, or you can talk about rehab, right? Rehab is the short for rehabilitation, okay,
Oh,
rehabilitation, but they usually use the short, okay, and they say rehab or
we
rehab.
have. Okay.
Exactly. So the rehab, the recovery process is going to be slower if you don't have views of trees, right? That's the main thing over there. But now we're going to take a look at this part, and we're also going to watch this, Daniel. They said that many cities, actually, before even the 2000s, they were planning in this way. And they say that there are many cities like this, perhaps not a lot, perhaps not the big cities, but some cities were planning like this even in the 80s or even in the 1800s, I believe. But let's see which are going to be those cities, all right, and how it's going to affect other cities as well. But before going to this last part, Daniel, do you have any questions about the words or anything? Let me know, please.
I want to write about two words. First of
Yes,
all, the nature in general was
let me show you. It's green foliage, okay? Green foliage. I'm going to show you over here. There you go.
foliage. All right, and also the rascacielos era sky.
Skyscraper over there. That this is in plural, right? But you can use it in singular, right?
Okay, skies.
Skyscraper or skyscrapers. And also this one, right? I think it's going to be important. Underground can be underground infrastructure, underground structure, right? Everything that is down below the ground.
Cool. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, good. Very well. You're welcome. Now let's continue then from this part and let's learn about these cities that they are talking about.
Currently, many cities are full of views like this, and that's no accident. As early as the 18th century, city planners began to embrace the importance of urban trees. In 1733, Colonel James Oglethorpe planned the city of Savannah, Georgia, to ensure that no neighborhood was more than a 2-minute walk from a park. After World War II, Copenhagen directed all new development along 5 arteries, each sandwiched between a park. This layout increased the city's resilience to pollution and natural disasters. And urban trees don't just benefit people. Portland's Forest Park preserves the region's natural biodiversity, making the city home to various local plants, 112 bird species, and 62 species of mammals. No city is more committed to trees than Singapore. Since 1967, Singapore's government has planted over 1.2 million trees, including those within 50-meter-tall vertical gardens called super trees. These structures sustain themselves and nearby conservatories with solar energy and collected rainwater. Trees and vegetation currently cover over 50% of Singapore's landmass, reducing the need for air conditioning and encouraging low-pollution transportation. By 2050, it's estimated that over 65% of the world will be living in cities. City planners can lay an eco-friendly foundation, but it's up to the people who live in these urban forests to make them homes for more than humans.
Good. So after that, they are going to mention other details, but I think up to this part is the important details that we have to listen to, Daniel. So it was a little bit longer, but it's to close with this video. And I want you to tell me again what we were able to understand and some comments about it, please.
Okay, we saw first of all how some cities or many cities started in 1800 or in the mid of 18 or 19th. Um, they started to construct or build some neighborhoods or part of the cities, uh, dividing with some near parks or also with many uh, nature near from houses or from part of the cities. Um, Also in I don't remember the exact country, but that was interesting to see how they had like forest preservation or nature preservation when they had Copenhagen, and they had like, as I said, forest preservation when they can preserve animals or also vegetation. It's correct.
You can say that one, or you can say this is similar to Spanish. You can say flora and the fauna, okay? Flora and fauna, or you can say vegetation in general.
Oh, okay, flora and fauna. Yeah, it involves animals as well. Then it shows us how Singapore is the #1 country that preserves nature, because they had many, how can I say this? Many forms of preserved vegetation. They show us like some, I don't know if this is new, but some trees, tall trees that uh, preserve or produce some energy, and also they can get water. Um, what else? And yeah, the people there lives with a lot of nature. Um, then in the video it shows us how a big percentage of the world are working for preserve more vegetation or flora and fauna. Um, what else? Yeah, I don't know if the estimation was in the beginning of the 20th century, but yeah, that's the to summarize everything, I think.
Great. Thank you very much, Daniel. Yes, and you're right. Okay, all the information you were giving me is correct. We're going to be finishing here, but again, I'm going to show you just some words. Yes, so first is that in Singapore, right, they have planted, right? The people have planted over 1.2 million trees, right? That's a lot. That's only in Singapore. That's why here they say that it's 50-50. It means it's 50% buildings and 50%, right? And this word, remember, even if it's with a, it's going to be a nature, right? 50% buildings and 50% nature. Also in the word fauna, fauna is going to be in Spanish, but as au in English is different, that au changes to o, all right? So it's going to be flora and fauna, like o, all right? Flora and fauna. So it's 50-50, all right? Then they include, this is different, right? This is only like a structure. These are gardens. So if you can see, this is a structure and they are making plants and green foliage, right, grow in these structures. And they have here like wells, right, wells like pozos. And those wells are going to accumulate water. So they are going to have a lot of functions. But the main one is, right, nature, preserving nature. And of course, that's also going to affect animals in natural. And yes, if I'm not wrong, I'm going to check this again. This video was posted, all right, in the 2010, 2013, more or less, and they were obtaining the data, okay, from that time. So I believe that is not that old, okay, so it's kind of updated. But that's the thing I wanted to mention before finishing. And here, right, you can say vegetation. It's a good way of talking about that as well. That's it, Daniel. I don't know if you have any questions before finishing. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you. It was a lot of new vocabulary. So thank you.
Great. That's great to know, Daniel. No, thank you for being here. As always, please, I'm going to send a survey. You can answer those questions, and that's it. Thanks for being here. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow in class.
Thank you, teacher. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Okay, now I'm with you, Larissa. How are you, Larissa? Is everything okay?
Hello, teacher. Yes, I'm fine.
Great, that's great to know. So with you, we are in a different part of this video, Larissa, and we were learning about benefits. All right, we got to see most of these benefits, but again, the idea of watching this video is learning the vocabulary. So let's try to summarize what we remember, Larissa. Tell me everything you remember, please, from this part of the video, so that we can continue or we can reinforce some knowledge. Let's do it, please.
Okay. Some benefits of the tree are they act like a sponge with the toxins. They help with the, I don't remember the name, but moonlights.
Good, you're very close. I'm going to write it. You're very, very close. Okay, mudslide.
Mudslide. Okay. Mudslide. Okay.
It's in the chat. You can read mudslide. Let's repeat that one, please, Larissa. Mudslides.
Mudslides.
Slides with the last D, right? The slides.
Mudslides. Okay. That I remember.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Larissa. So it's good, okay? We are good. We are just going to summarize one more time very briefly, okay? I'm going to do it with you this time. So yes, they are a sponge, but remember first, before toxins, they are a sponge for water, right? Only for water, storm water. So they absorb the water, they retain the water, and they release the water back into the atmosphere, right? Release, right? Liberar. So release it back into the atmosphere, the first one. Then you were talking about this, but let's remember this vocabulary also, the webs of the roots, right? The webs of the roots protect against mudslides, right? You were talking about that, and it's correct. And there also, they work with toxins, right? And they say, while allowing soil, right? El suelo, piso, la tierra, to retain water and filter out and eliminate toxins, right? So a double benefit. Now, this is different, okay? I'm going to play this part, Larissa, because here they are going to mention a new word. Okay, pay attention. This is short. I'm going to play it 2 or 3 times. Try to tell me what you understand here.
Roots help prevent floods while reducing the need for storm drains and water treatment plants. Roots help prevent floods while reducing the need for storm drains and water treatment plants. Roots help prevent floods while reducing the need for storm drains and water treatment plants.
Okay, so what do you say about that one, Larissa? What were you able to get in that
Mm, say something with the roots. They with the I don't understand. A stormer.
Let's decipher that together, okay? Decipher means descifrar. So look, for example, what happens when there's a storm, Larissa? What sometimes happen in cities when there's a storm and it rains a lot and it's a heavy rain? What is a consequence of a lot of rain? A negative consequence, Larissa?
I don't know how it's in English. Se inunda.
Good, exactly. Okay, that's the word. So that word in English is flood, okay, or floods. Okay, it's Flood, okay, flood or floods. So that's one consequence, okay, flood. Now, then you have some elements in the city, for example. What are those elements that you have to control water or to avoid those floods, Larissa? What do you say? What do you need in cities to avoid floods?
Los canales.
Good, exactly. So you can call that, okay, there can be storm drains sometimes, okay? Drainage, drenaje, or drains, okay? To drain or drainage. But here I think they call it drain, okay? Drain. And also you have water treatment, tratamiento de agua, okay? So have that in mind because all those words are going to be mentioned, all right? And you're going to tell me once again. So let's listen one more time.
Out toxins. Roots help prevent floods while reducing the need for storm drains and water treatment plants. While reducing the need for storm drains and water treatment plants. Roots help prevent floods while reducing the need for storm drains and water treatment plants. Roots help prevent floods while reducing the need for storm drains and water treatment plants.
Okay, so there you go. Now, what can you tell me about this
one? Yeah, the first part say the tree prevent the flood, and the second that like with storms thing.
Remember in that one, remember that what you told me, canales or drenaje, right, is storm drain, right? Storm drain or storm drains. So I'm asking you this, Larissa. With trees, do we need more storm drains or do we need less or fewer storm drains? What do you say?
No, maybe more.
Okay, let's analyze, all right? Because remember, as the trees absorb the water, right? If trees absorb the water, it means that we don't need more drains, right? If trees do the job, si los árboles hacen el trabajo y absorbe el agua, it means that we don't need drains to take the water somewhere else. No necesitamos más canales o drenaje para llevar el agua a otro lugar, right? That's why they say the following. Por eso dicen lo siguiente, and I'm showing you the captions now. Okay, it says, Roots, right? Roots help prevent floods, right? Inundaciones. So roots prevent floods. And at the same time, they reduce the need for storm drains, okay? Canales, drenajes de agua, and water treatment plants, ¿no? Y plantas de tratamiento de agua. Why? ¿Por qué? Because trees do the job, porque los árboles ya hacen el trabajo, right? They absorb the water, they filter out the toxins, absorben el agua, eliminan toxinas, right? That's why trees are doing the job and we don't need those extra elements. Okay, so that's another benefit. Roots prevent floods, and also we don't need a lot of storm drains or water treatment plants because trees are doing the job. All right, I don't know if you have any questions about these words or about this logic, Larissa. Let me know, please.
No, teacher. In this part, it's clear.
Okay, good. So let's do the following, please, Larissa. Let's explain one more time, only these benefits. How can you explain this one more time?
Okay, the roots of the tree help I forget the word. Prevent the floods, and with the treat reduce the need to use storm drains and water treatment.
Exactly, and water treatment plants, right? So good. In that one, just let's repeat this verb, please, because this is a very important verb, Larissa. It's going to be
Prevent.
prevent. Prevent, exactly. Okay, so when something prevents something, it's something positive, right? And this, even it's double O, esta es otra ruptura de regla, Larissa, okay? They are breaking the rules. Here, instead of U, it's going to be like only O, okay? Floods. So
Floods.
roots, aquí U, but here O, right? So roots help prevent floods. Let's repeat this idea, please, Larissa.
Roots help prevent floods.
There you go. Good. That's the most important. Okay, now let's go to the last one. Okay, this is going to be the last benefit. It's what you told me, Larissa, but it's a little bit more detailed. So let's listen to this last part, please.
Water treatment plants. Their porous leaves purify the air by trapping carbon and other pollutants, making them essential in the fight against climate change. Their porous leaves purify the air by trapping carbon and other pollutants, making them essential in the fight against climate change. Porous leaves purify the air by trapping carbon and other pollutants, making them essential in the fight against climate change.
Okay, so that's that last part. Also, there are some words, okay, difficult words, I think. But what can you tell me about this last part, Larissa?
I think say like pollens, and the water with the purify the air with carbon, I think. And the other name, no, I don't recognize.
Good. So let's try to identify. Yes, how do you call this? What is this in English, Larissa? How do you call this part of the plant?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, it's going to be leaf. Okay, one leaf or two leaves. Okay, leaf or leaves. Because what's the part of the trees that purify the air? The leaves, right? The leaves, they produce oxygen, and they clear out or clean out carbon, for example, right? The word you were telling me, Larissa, it's contaminantes, and that's pollutants, okay? Pollutants. Or if you want to use the T, pollutants, okay? Pollutants, but in the pronunciation is going to be pollutants, okay? Pollutants. So let's listen. I'm going to mention, with this we're going to finish, Larissa, but I'm going to repeat some ideas.
Okay.
Their porous leaves
Okay, their porous leaves. So the porous of the leaves. Okay, porous of the leaves. What do?
leaves purify the air by
Right, purify the air. How do they purify the air? They purify the air,
trapping carbon and other pollutants.
okay, by trapping. Okay, they trap carbon and other pollutants. Okay, so the leaves purify the air when they trap carbon and they trap other pollutants.
Making them essential in the fight against climate change.
Okay, and making them essential, right, for the fight against climate change, right? So that's why trees are important. So let's try to remember that idea, please, Larissa. How can you tell me this one more time? Remember, one more time, I'm going to say it. Porous of the leaves, they trap carbon and other pollutants, all right? And they purify the air. Okay, they purify the air by trapping carbon and other pollutants, and that's why they are essential. Are you there, Larissa? I think your microphone is off. Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Were you able to hear me, Larissa?
Yes, right now.
Okay.
The pores of the leaf purify the air when they catch the carbon pollutants.
Great. Just the last word. Solamente falta la última palabra. That's great. Okay, let me show you that word. It's going to be this one. Okay, Larissa. Pollutants. Okay, pollutants.
Okay,
There you
pollutants.
go. Good. Let's repeat one more time, please, Larissa. Pollutants.
Pollutants.
Good. That means, again, contaminantes. All right, and that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about these words. I'm showing you, okay? Porous of leaves, purify the air, they trap or catch. What you said is very well, catch carbon, other pollutants, right? And they are essential for fighting, right, against climate change. And that's it. And the previous ideas as well, that is, are going to be important. Stormwater drains, roots, floods, and the previous ones, right? Mudslides and so on. I don't know if you have any questions about those words before finishing. Let me know, please.
No, teacher. I don't have.
Okay. Okay, let's finish here then, please, Larissa. As always, I'm going to ask you to answer the questions. They are down below. Okay, down below. Let's answer them and let me know when you do it, please.
Okay, I'm done.
Great. Thank you very much. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow in class.
Thank you, teacher. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you. All right. Now I'm with you, Paola. How are you, Paola? Is everything okay?
Hi, teacher. Yes.
Great. That's great to know, Paola. So with all of you, I'm working with different parts, all right, of this video. Remember that we're learning about trees, right? Yesterday with you, we learned some of those benefits. Now today with you then, Paola, we're going to do something a little bit different. So we're going to try to understand, all right, what happens in some cities when they don't have trees, okay, to see the opposite side, Paola, all right? We're going to see two cases. We're going to see New York in the 1870, and we're also going to take a look at Hong Kong, all right? Those are going to be the two cities. First, I'm only going to play New York, Paola, all right? Try to tell me everything you understand about New York before having a conversation about it. All right. Do you have any questions before starting? Let me know, please.
No, yet, teacher.
Okay, let's do it, please. Let's listen only about New York.
Well, in the 1870s, Manhattan had few trees outside the island's parks. Without trees to provide shade, buildings absorbed up to 9 times more solar radiation during deadly summer heat waves. Combined with the period's poor sanitation standards, the oppressive heat made the city a breeding ground for bacteria like cholera. In the 70s, Manhattan had few trees outside the island's parks. Without trees to provide shade, buildings absorbed up to 9 times more solar radiation during deadly summer heat waves. Combined with the period's poor sanitation standards, the oppressive heat made the city a breeding ground for bacteria like cholera.
Okay, that's the part of the video. Again, here we don't need to get everything. Let's only get some words and let's try to learn some new vocabulary. All right, but what can you tell me about this part, Paola? What were you able to get about New York's case?
Okay, in New York in 1870, Manhattan was the city have more pollution. They don't have trees, so the buildings absorb 90% the solar radiation, and also appear the bacteria and cholera.
Thank you very much. Yes, what you're saying is very, very good. Instead of 90, it's only going to be a number. But yes, first, yes, New York. We're talking about Manhattan. There's no trees, right? Or there are no trees. So there's a consequence, right? Without trees, you cannot produce shade, right? Sombra or shadow, sombra. So that's a problem, right? Why? Because and I'm going to show you the captions, because they provide shade and the buildings are going to absorb more solar radiation, right? It's not going to be 90, but it's going to be 9 times more, right, than usual. So good. They absorb more solar radiation. And that in combination of what? So first, Manhattan, no trees, no shade. The buildings absorb 9 times more solar radiation. In what period of time? In summer. So this is another conditionant, right? Summer. That combined with poor sanitation standards, right? The streets are not clean, they are dirty, and they don't have good standards for cleaning or sanitation. All that combination is going to create a breeding ground, right? Breeding ground is a place in which you can grow things. And in this case, it's good for bacteria, right? And bacteria grow a lot in places like this. For example, and you mentioned very well, cholera, right? So I think that works great, Paola. I don't know if you have any questions about this part because we were able to understand, I think, very well. Do you have any questions before going to Hong Kong? Let me know, please.
No, did you?
Okay, let's go to the next part then, please. Hong Kong, and let's understand what's happening here. And in this case, after Hong Kong, we are going to try to explain some words with our own words. Okay, so here we go.
In modern-day Hong Kong, tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure make it difficult for trees to grow. This contributes to the city's dangerously poor air quality, which can cause bronchitis and diminished lung function. In modern-day Hong Kong, tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure make it difficult for trees to grow. This contributes to the city's dangerously poor air quality, which can cause bronchitis and diminished lung function. Trees.
All right, up to that part, Paola. So what can you tell me about Hong Kong?
They have a problems to grow a trees, so they have a poor air quality. That's the only I can't.
Good, and that's perfect. Okay, that's the main idea, Paola. You're right. They have problems growing trees, and they have poor air quality. Okay, that's the most important thing. Now, the other details is how and why. why do they have problems with growing trees? And to answer that one, I'm going to ask you the following, Paola. How do you call a building that is very tall in English, Paola? What is the name in English to very, very tall buildings?
Um, I don't remember it.
All right. It's going to be in Spanish is rascacielos, right?
Yeah.
Rascacielos. And that in English is going to be skyscraper. Okay, skyscraper is only one word, but you can divide it in two. Okay, skyscraper, and they are together. Okay, skyscraper. Let's repeat that one, please, Paola. Skyscraper.
Skyscraper.
Good. Now, the second thing, Paola, what do you call to anything that is built below the ground? What do you call, or how do you call in English to something that is built below the ground or down below? For example, in New York, right, they have types of trains down below the ground, right? How do you call to those ones in English?
Underground?
Good, that's correct. Underground. So it can be underground structure or it can be subways, right? The subways. But the main here is in underground, okay? Underground structure. So with those words, Paola, let's listen one more time, only to the first part. And you're going to tell me how can you relate those words with the problem that you told me. Okay, here we go.
In modern-day Hong Kong, tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure make it difficult for trees to grow, like cholera. In modern-day Hong Kong, tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure make it difficult for trees to grow. In modern-day Hong Kong, tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure make it difficult for trees to grow.
Okay, so there you go. So how can you relate now then, Paola, skyscrapers, underground structures, or infrastructures with the problem that you told me? What's the connection between those elements?
Okay, because they have tall skyscraper and also underground infrastructure. It's difficult that trees going to grow.
Very good, exactly. So those are the causes, right? As you can see here, right? What's happening in this picture over here? The light, right? This is a tall skyscraper, right? A tall skyscraper. And the sun, right? The sun cannot get here. There's only one plant, right? Everything else is gray. So because of tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure, very well, the result is that it's difficult for plants to grow, right? Now, let me show you those words, Paola, are going to be here. You can take notes if you want. This is skyscrapers, okay, and underground infrastructure. Let's repeat those two words or three words one more time, please, Paola. Skyscrapers, underground infrastructure.
Skyscrapers, underground infrastructure.
Good. And that U, instead of U, you can change it to A, and it's going to be infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Okay.
Good. Very good. Now, the last part from this one, Paola, to finish, you're going to tell me what is the consequence. Okay, so you told me, right, poor air quality, and that's perfect. Okay, that's perfect. But tell me, what's the consequence of poor air quality? All right, there are some names, and remember, you breathe with your lungs, right? Pulmones, lungs. So have that in mind, Paul. I'm going to play this last part to finish.
Tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure make it difficult for trees to grow. This contributes to the city's dangerously poor air quality, which can cause bronchitis and diminished lung function. To grow. This contributes to the city's dangerously poor air quality, which can cause bronchitis and diminished lung function. To grow. This contributes to the city's dangerously poor air quality, which can cause bronchitis and diminished lung function.
Okay, so that's the last part we're going to work, Paola, but what can you tell me about it?
Okay, the consequence that they have a poor air quality are bronchitis, and this means the lung function.
Okay, good, good. Just the pronunciation is going to change a little bit, but you have that one, right? How do you say then bronchitis in English, Paola?
I don't know.
It's that word, okay? But I'm going to help you, all right? It's this one, and you pronounce this E as I.
Ah,
So it's going to
okay.
be bronchitis. Okay,
Bronchitis.
so good. Let's repeat one more time, please. Bronchitis.
Bronchitis.
Good. Diminished means disminuido, right? Lung function, función del pulmón disminuido. So it means this is a disease, right? So the bronchitis and diminished lung function, right? Those are causes for what or of what? Causes of poor air quality, right? So let's repeat one more time, please, everything. And Paula, what's the consequence for poor air quality?
The bronchitis, and this makes it lung function.
Okay, good. Only do these words two more times, okay, to finish. This is going to be this T at the end, all right? It's not working good. So it's going to be more like T, so bronchitis. So instead of T, it's going to be like D. Good. One more time, please, Paola. Bronchitis.
Bronchitis.
Good. And this one is going to be diminished. Diminished.
Diminished.
Good. So you have those two words interesting in English, Paola. To finish again, augmented, aumentada, okay, augmented, and diminished, disminuida or reducida. Okay, augmented, diminished. Repeat those two words, please. Augmented, diminished.
Augmented, diminished.
Diminished. Good. That's it. That's what we're going to do today, Paola. I want to know if you have any questions about these words or comments before finishing. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's clear.
Okay, good. Let's finish up here, please. As always, I'm going to ask you to answer to the questions. Please let me know when you do it, Paola.
I did it.
Great. Thank you very much. Have a good night and see you tomorrow in class.
Okay, bye, teacher. See you.
Bye-bye. Take care. All right, now with you, Wilson. Good evening, Wilson. How's everything going for you?
Good evening, teacher. Everything is right, teacher.
Great. That's great to know, Wilson. So today we have to finish this with you. We already learned about New York and Hong Kong, right? New York has this interesting case, no trees, no shade, a lot of bacteria, cholera, right? That's New York. And in Hong Kong, you have skyscrapers, you have underground infrastructure, you have poor air quality, and finally, you can have bronchitis or diminished lung function, right? That's what we covered. I don't know if you have any questions about that before going to the next one and the last part for today, Wilson. Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
Okay, so the last part, this is going to be divided in two parts, okay? First, you're going to tell me about this, okay? There's a difference between having trees or plants in general and not having them. The example in a hospital, okay? That's going to be the first part. So let's pay attention to that.
Lung function. Trees affect our mental health as well. Research indicates that the presence of green foliage increases attention spans and decreases stress levels. It's even been shown that hospital patients with views of brick walls recover more slowly than those with views of trees. Lung function. Trees affect our mental health as well. Research indicates that the presence of green foliage increases attention spans and decreases stress levels. It's even been shown that hospital patients with views of brick walls recover more slowly than those with views of trees.
Okay, so that's the first part of this last part, Wilson. What can you tell me about it?
The green area. I don't know if it's correct.
green area. Um, it's it's good for us because we live with less stress, and for example in the hospitals, they have walls and those kind of things, and if the hospitals would have big windows with green area like trees and plants, the the people can ¿cómo sería recuperarse, teacher?
Recover.
Recover, I think, faster than if they don't have that that view.
Good. Great. I think that was great, Wilson. Yes, view, recover. Okay, so perfect. I think everything is correct. Okay, I think everything is correct. I'm going to give you just recommendations and we're going to learn some new words. All right, so if you say green, area is correct, but just the pronunciation, okay, it's better instead of a, you say area, okay, green area. And if you're going to mention only green area, you can say that in plural as well, okay? Green areas. Okay, so let's repeat that, please, Wilson. Green areas.
Green areas.
Okay, good. Now, this one, good. These are brick walls, right? Brick walls. And actually, it's a condition, as you said, right? If hospitals had big windows, right, with this view of trees, they would recover faster. That was perfect. And actually, yes, right? Some hospitals do have this, right? There are hospitals that have these views. And it's shown, actually, this is part of a study, right? It's part of a study. It's shown that patients with brick walls, they recover, right, slower than these type of patients. Okay, so what you said is correct and it's very good. Just this is the new word that we're going to learn because I think everything is working great. Again, Wilson, this one, instead of green area that you can say or green areas, you can mention green foliage as they were talking about. Okay, green foliage. So what is green foliage? Foliage refers to all trees, plants, flowers, or right, vegetation in general that you can have in cities, for example. Right, so the presence of green foliage increases what? Attention spans. Okay, it means that you are focused, that you can pay attention to things. If you don't have trees, your mind is like this. It's a mess, right? Un desastre, a mess. But if you have trees, nature, they say your attention span increases, and also, right, it decreases stress levels, right? And because of those factors, they have this study, right? It's even been shown. It means this was proved that hospital patients, right, with this view recover slower, can be all right, but this is the word also, Wilson, recover, okay, with a V, recover more slowly, or you can say slower, but in this case, they are using slowly not as an adjective, they are using slowly as adverb, right? That's why we say more slowly in this case. But if you use slow as an adjective, you have to say slower, right? Slower or more slowly than those with views of trees. Okay, so that's the vocabulary I wanted to show you before going to the next part. Green foliage and attention spans. Okay, I don't know if you have any questions before going to the next part.
No, teacher, no.
Okay, let's go then to the next part. And this next part, Wilson, is going to be long. Why? Because we're going to play all the rest of the video. It's not a lot. Look, some minutes from this part. Okay, and up to this part, not until the end, but up to this part more or less. And you're going to listen to what they are doing in cities, okay, or what they have been doing in cities even from the 1800s, okay, to create green foliage, to have these benefits for trees. All right, and you're going to try to give me a summary for all those cities. Okay, so let's pay attention. We're going to have a lot of information here, but it's really interesting. So here we go.
Trees. In 1733, Colonel James Oglethorpe planned the city of Savannah, Georgia, to ensure that no neighborhood was more than a 2-minute walk from a park. After World War II, Copenhagen directed all new development along 5 arteries, each sandwiched between a park. This layout increased the city's resilience to pollution and natural disasters. And urban trees don't just benefit people. Portland's Forest Park preserves the region's natural biodiversity, making the city home to various local plants, 112 bird species, and 62 species of mammals. No city is more committed to trees than Singapore. Since 1967, Singapore's government has planted over 1.2 million trees, including those within 50-meter-tall vertical gardens called super trees. These structures sustain themselves and nearby conservatories with solar energy and collected rainwater. Trees and vegetation currently cover over 50% of Singapore's landmass, reducing the need for air conditioning and encouraging low-pollution transportation. By 2050, it's estimated that over 65% of the world will be living in cities. City planners can lay an eco-friendly foundation, but it's up to the people who live in these urban forests to make them homes for more than humans.
All right, so it's going to be up to that part then, Wilson. So what can you tell me in general? Perhaps we're going to check some vocabulary because there's something interesting, but what can you tell me about this last part?
Well, I didn't know that about the cities. For example, Singapore, Copenhagen, and I can't remember the other city, but they are friendly with the nature, with the animals, with the forest and foliage, and they have more resilience. They are more resilient with the nature in general.
Very good, exactly, right? The first one is going to be Savannah, all right? That's the name of the place, Savannah. So yes, it's really interesting because look, this is in 1733, and these are the 1800s, right? 1800s. So it means that cities in the 1800s, they were already planning cities, right, to be environmentally friendly. Right, to be environmentally friendly. So this is not new, right? Many people, I also believe this before Wilson, I believed that this started in the 2000s or then 1900s, but this is before, right? So here, for example, there cannot be, right, a house that is further than 2 minutes from a park. Okay, so 2 minutes, a park, 2 minutes, a park, 2 minutes, a park. So every 2 minutes, you have to be able to find a park with green foliage and vegetation, right? Over here, Copenhagen, as you were telling me, right? And this is interesting because this is the city, right? But because of being environmentally friendly, what did they decide to do? They decided to grow, but in between forests, right? So they are not going to destroy all nature. You can say green foliage also, as I told you, Wilson. But if you want to talk about generally about animals and vegetation, it's the same as in Spanish, and you can say the flora and fauna. Okay, flora and fauna. It's the same, fauna, but you have to pronounce as O, fauna. Okay, flora and fauna. Let's repeat that, please, Wilson. Flora and fauna.
Flora and fauna.
Good, very good. So one more time before going, we're going to take a look at some vocabulary. So 5 arteries, they say, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a hand, right? 5 arteries. Let's take a look at the words. You're going to tell me if you have any questions. Look, sandwich also can be a verb. Look here, sandwich is a verb, it's not a noun. So these are sandwiched, okay? Sandwiched between a park. It means they are built in between something else. Okay, so sandwich can be a noun or sandwich can be a verb. Then, you were talking about this, but be careful. If you say resilience, okay, resilience, that's not going to be an adjective. That's going to be a noun. Okay, for example, here the city's resilience. But if you want to use resilience as an adjective, Wilson, you have to change the CS to T, and you're going to say resilient. Resilient. Okay, so you are resilient or you have resilience. Okay, so let's repeat those two words, please, Wilson. Resilience and resilient.
Resilience and resilient.
Good, very, very good. Pollution, you know that one, natural disaster, urban trees, they are talking about Portland, right? And here, this is a very interesting word. I know that you know it, biodiversity. So here we're talking about flora and fauna, right? Flora and fauna in general. And they have 200 bird species, right? And 62 mammal species as well. All right, you can stop me if you have any questions about the words, okay? Mainly, I'm showing you the words, Wilson, to see if everything is clear. Then committed. What is to be committed to something, Wilson? How can you explain that? What is to be committed to something?
I don't know, teacher.
All right, committed is that you are engaged with something, that you are like going to do anything for that objective. Okay, for example, if you say, I'm committed to finish my career, it means that my main objective, okay, my main objective in my life is to finish my career. All right, so committed means engaged, or if you want that word in Spanish, it's going to be comprometido. All right, you are committed to something. All right, in this case, to trees. So Singapore, it's interesting because in Singapore it's 50-50. 50, right, vegetation, fauna, and everything, and 50% buildings. So you have, they planted, right, over 1.2 million trees. They have these big gardens, vertical gardens, right, in which they grow plants, all right.
The big trees.
Exactly, exactly, there you go. These big trees, and they are big gardens, and they help conserving a lot of things, and they are very environmentally friendly, right, in terms of taking care of nature. So, and they say, right, it's over 50%. Trees and vegetation currently cover over 50% of Singapore's landmass. Okay, this is the landmass, everything or everywhere in which you can grow things or build things. Right, so it's 50-50, and that's a lot. I don't think any other city has that. All right, and again, some other elements, and this is the last thing before finishing, Wilson. By 2050, right, it's estimated that over 65% of the world will be living in cities, and because of that, right, the planners of cities, they have to think in this way, right? They have to be eco-friendly, right? So you can use that one, eco-friendly. And that's it. Okay, that was the idea of the video. I don't know if you have any questions or comments. I wanted to show you that vocabulary. Let me know, please, if you have comments or doubts about those words, Wilson.
No, I don't have any question, teacher. It was interesting. I heard the in the TV about the scientists that was protesting, yeah, and because they said that the Earth just have 10 years to do something about the climate change, and if we don't do nothing about it. I don't know what's gonna happen, but they said that gun will will I don't know how to explain it, but disasters and other bad things.
Yes, good. It's good that you're mentioning that because yes, you're right, right? A lot of scientists are telling that, and that's a reality, right? Perhaps, but as we can see, right, some cities are doing something about it. Perhaps we can also do something right around us, try to have a change in our cities. It's difficult, right? Because you have to change a lot of things. But it's important because, as you were saying, if not, and if everything is true, right, there's going to be a lot of natural disasters and negative consequences, right, related to that. So, again, it's interesting that this was interesting for you, Wilson. I hope also that you learned some new vocabulary. But that's going to be it then for today. I don't know if you have any perhaps final questions, not just about that one, but about Pearson or about anything. Wilson, let me know, please.
No, teacher. I don't
Okay,
know.
there you go. So let's finish over here, please. As always, I'm going to ask you to answer to the questions. Let me know when you do it, please.
Yeah, I've done, teacher.
Great. Thank you very much for being here. Also, Wilson, have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow in class.
Okay, teacher. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. See you.